Welcome to episode 15 of our chilling series exploring the haunted corners of Oregon, where mist-shrouded forests, rugged coastlines, and eerie ghost towns serve as backdrops for some of the most spine-tingling tales of the supernatural. In this installment of Most Haunted Places in Oregon, we delve deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly legends, uncovering stories so haunting they'll leave you questioning the boundaries between the living and the dead. From abandoned asylums steeped in despair to lighthouses perched on desolate cliffs, Oregon is a treasure trove of spectral stories rooted in tragedy, betrayal, and unrelenting sorrow. Oregon's haunted places are more than just locations. They're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time: shipwrecks swallowed by angry seas, unsolved murders cloaked in secrecy, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each place holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted locales across Oregon, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted hotels, explore eerie mansions cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned institutions teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of Oregon, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Shanghai Tunnels. Beneath Portland's streets, beneath the bustling streets of Portland lies a labyrinth of tunnels known as the Shanghai Tunnels, a sinister network used during the late 19th and early 20th centuries for illicit activities ranging from human trafficking to smuggling contraband. These underground passageways, carved into the earth beneath the city's Old Town district, were originally constructed to transport goods from ships docked along the Willamette River directly to warehouses and businesses. However, their utility soon extended far beyond commerce, becoming conduits for one of history's darkest chapters: the practice of Shanghaiing, or kidnapping unsuspecting individuals to serve as sailors aboard merchant ships. Victims of Shanghaiing were often drugged, beaten, or coerced into submission before being dragged through trapdoors hidden in bars and boarding houses, disappearing forever into the subterranean maze below. Once in the tunnels, they would be held captive in cramped cells until they could be sold to ship captains desperate for crew members. The conditions in these makeshift prisons were deplorable: dark, damp, and suffocating, with little hope of escape. Many never saw daylight again, either dying from neglect or succumbing to injuries sustained during their abduction. Today, the Shanghai Tunnels remain a focal point of paranormal activity, drawing thrill-seekers and skeptics alike eager to confront the ghosts of those who suffered within their confines. Visitors report hearing faint moans and cries echoing through the narrow corridors, as though the tormented souls of kidnapped victims still plead for help. Some claim to see shadowy figures darting through the darkness, their forms dissolving into mist when approached. Others describe feeling an inexplicable sense of dread, as if unseen eyes watch their every move, while cold drafts sweep through spaces devoid of ventilation. Paranormal investigators exploring the tunnels have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near former holding cells and trapdoors. EVP recordings capture fragmented phrases like, "help me," and "let me out," delivered in tones of sheer desperation. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing motionless at the entrance to a cell, its hands pressed against the bars before vanishing without explanation. These findings have solidified the tunnel's reputation as one of Oregon's most active haunted sites. Despite, or perhaps because of, their grim history, the Shanghai Tunnels continue to attract curious souls eager to confront their spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the atrocities committed in pursuit of profit. Whether you're drawn by the allure of their haunting beauty or the weight of their tragic legacy, the tunnels offer an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Pittock Mansion, elegance entangled with the supernatural perched high atop a hill overlooking Portland, the Pittock Mansion stands as a beacon of refined elegance with a haunting legacy that dates back over a century. Built in 1914 by Henry Pittock, the wealthy publisher of the Oregonian newspaper, the French Renaissance-style chateau quickly became a symbol of prosperity and innovation. Its grand architecture, panoramic views of the city, and lush gardens evoke a sense of timeless grace, yet beneath its polished veneer lies a darker history steeped in tragedy, betrayal, and spectral encounters. One of the most iconic hauntings associated with the Pittock Mansion is that of Georgiana Pittock, Henry's wife, whose memory has become intertwined with the fabric of the estate. Described as intelligent and cultured, Georgiana played a pivotal role in shaping Portland's social scene, hosting lavish parties and philanthropic events within the mansion's opulent halls. Her death in 1918 sent shockwaves through the community, and her presence continues to linger long after her passing. Guests and staff alike report seeing a woman in a flowing Edwardian gown gliding silently through the corridors, her translucent form illuminated by dim light. Some claim to feel an icy draft pass through them as she drifts by, while others report hearing soft humming emanating from empty rooms, believed to be Georgiana tidying up after guests long gone. Another prominent figure in the mansion's haunted lore is believed to be none other than Henry Pittock himself. Though not a permanent resident after his wife's death, his larger-than-life personality left an indelible mark on the property. Visitors recount sightings of a tall, imposing man clad in period attire, pacing anxiously near the library or sitting alone in the study. His presence is often accompanied by the faint rustle of newspapers and the smell of ink, as though he's preparing for another edition of the Oregonian. Some speculate that Henry lingers due to unfinished business, unable to part ways with the city that played such a pivotal role in his life. The mansion's basement, once used for storage and service operations, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a janitor who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the mansion's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into the Pittock Mansion's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the third-floor hallway and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "Let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Pittock Mansion continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a tour, the opportunity to encounter Georgiana Pittock, Henry Pittock, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the mansion promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. The Tillamook Rock Lighthouse whispers on the wind perched precariously on a jagged rock formation off the Oregon coast. The Tillamook Rock Lighthouse stands as a testament to human determination and folly. Nicknamed Terrible Tilly, this remote beacon of light was built in 1881 under grueling conditions, requiring workers to blast away portions of the rock itself to construct a stable foundation. For decades, it served as a vital navigational aid for ships traversing the treacherous waters of the Pacific Northwest, but its isolation and harsh environment made it a crucible of despair for those stationed there. Life at Terrible Tilly was anything but idyllic. Keepers endured brutal storms, bone-chilling cold, and relentless loneliness, cut off from civilization for months at a time. Historical records reveal that tensions among the small crew often boiled over into arguments and even physical altercations. Several keepers reportedly went mad from the isolation, their minds unraveling amidst the howling winds and crashing waves. Tragedy struck repeatedly. One keeper fell to his death while attempting repairs, another disappeared without explanation, leaving behind only cryptic journal entries hinting at paranoia and hallucinations. Decommissioned in 1957, the lighthouse eventually became a columbarium, a repository for cremated remains, but financial mismanagement led to its abandonment once again. Today, the structure lies derelict, battered by the elements and shrouded in myth. Visitors who venture close to the rock by boat report hearing disembodied voices carried on the wind, imploring them to turn back. Shadows flit across the windows despite the absence of any living occupants, and some claim to see apparitions of former keepers pacing restlessly along the catwalk, scanning the horizon for rescue that will never come. Paranormal investigators exploring the lighthouse have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike near the lantern room, where many of the tragedies unfolded. EVP recordings capture faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with anguished cries. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing in the doorway of the keeper's quarters, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified Terrible Tilly's reputation as one of Oregon's most haunted landmarks. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, the Tillamook Rock Lighthouse continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of safety for seafarers. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Terrible Tilly offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Oregon State Hospital, echoes of madness nestled in Salem, Oregon. The Oregon State Hospital looms as a stark reminder of the intersection between mental health care and institutional neglect. Opened in 1883, the hospital initially aimed to provide treatment and refuge for individuals grappling with mental illnesses. However, over time, it devolved into a harrowing institution marked by overcrowding, abuse, and experimental treatments that bordered on the barbaric. Its sprawling campus, once heralded as a model of psychiatric care, became synonymous with suffering and despair, earning infamy as the setting for Ken Kesey's novel One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. One of the most infamous aspects of the hospital's history revolves around its use of hydrotherapy and lobotomies as treatments. Patients deemed unruly or disruptive were subjected to freezing baths, electric shock therapy, and invasive surgical procedures intended to cure their conditions. Records indicate that many died as a result of these interventions, their bodies hastily cremated and stored in unmarked urns discovered decades later in the hospital's basement. The discovery of these remains sparked outrage and renewed interest in the facility's haunted reputation, with some believing the spirits of the deceased continued to haunt its halls. Visitors to the Oregon State Hospital report hearing faint screams and sobs emanating from empty wards, as though patients still endure their torment. Shadows flit across peripheral vision, disappearing when directly observed. Some claim to see apparitions of men and women in tattered hospital gowns, their faces gaunt and weary, wandering aimlessly as though searching for an escape. Others describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them, as if the anguish of generations past permeates the very walls. Paranormal investigators exploring the hospital have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near operating rooms and patient wards. EVP recordings capture fragmented phrases like, "help me," and "make it stop," delivered in tones of sheer desperation. One particularly unsettling discovery came when a team member set up motion-activated cameras overnight, capturing footage of a translucent figure standing motionless at the foot of an abandoned bed before vanishing without explanation. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Oregon State Hospital remains a popular destination for tourists and locals alike. Its picturesque setting and rich history make it a favorite spot for photography and leisurely strolls. For those brave enough to venture inside after dark, the promise of encountering one of the countless spirits said to linger adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the weathered floors, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past? Or will they become another chapter in the hospital's macabre legacy? Patterns across Oregon's haunted places, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of Oregon, from the opulent halls of the Pittock Mansion to the somber grounds of the Oregon State Hospital. Striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of sanatoriums to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The psychology of fear. Why haunted places captivate us? What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through Oregon's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear. The spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of Oregon's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.